This is Walther PPKS in 9mm short. Just in case you didn't know, 9mm short is what we would call 380 ACP. The Germans would call it 9mm Kurz, and then in America we call the same cartridge 380 ACP. There's already like 1,000 videos on YouTube about the PPK, and PPKS series, so I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time going back over the history of it. Basically, this is mine, all stainless steel. It has been through the recall. You'll see the divot there. Smith & Wesson did a recall on the hammer. And it came with the two magazines, one with the finger rest, one without. These are both 7 rounds. Because it's a PPKS, which was the import version, it holds 7 rounds in the magazine, whereas the original PPK was 1 less. If you've been paying attention to the gun industry lately, in the last couple of years, there's been an explosion of interest in 380 pocket pistols. And in fact, even now we're getting 9mm sized quote-unquote pocket pistols, and it all kind of starts here. Back in the 1930s, Walther released the PPK, which was a shortened version of their PP, stood for police pistol. And at that time, 1930s, that was hot stuff. You finally had a pistol that you could hide in like a coat pocket or something like that for detective or undercover work. And so all of these later pistols, such as the Makarov, Polish P64, and a bunch of other Blowback style 380 pistols owe their lineage to that concept. This right here kind of starts the whole line right here. The Blowback operated 380 ACP or 32 ACP. Now, compared to a modern 380 pocket pistol, what you're going to see is modern pistols will usually have a locked breech. Notice the way that the barrel hood actually drops down and unlocks as the slider's reciprocating. The barrel is tilting and then it goes back into lockup. Now, the PPK back then, new technology, was just a straight blowback. Okay, there was not a locked breech for this low power cartridge. And there are still straight blowback 380s and even 9mm pistols on the market today. The disadvantage of a straight blowback is the spring has to be very hard, so it takes a lot of effort to rack the slide. Also, the perceived recoil, I think, is harsher on a blowback pistol. Now, obviously, I didn't buy this PPKS to be a pocket pistol. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, there are better options. And in fact, you can even get a 9mm pretty much in the same form factor, something like the LC9. I bought this for historical reasons. It is a trendsetter in the industry. Back in the 1930s, it started that trend of these concealable pocket pistols. It also carries forward Walther's operating mechanism. It's the same way that they have on the P38. If you take these grips off and look inside, it's the same way that the trigger bar is, and then there's a double action hammer system in there. Obviously, this is a Smith & Wesson version, and it's been through the recalls, what that divot means, but it still operates similar to the way P38 hammer works. Take the safety off, the hammer will stay in single action. You put the safety on, it decocks, and it locks out the trigger. And then to fire, you have to push the safety back up, slide mounted safety back up, then your trigger is enabled. You can make a very hard double action pull, or when the slide cycles, then your next shot is a single action shot, and then back to safe. It's a little weird because you pick the gun up, if you're going to use it, you have to decide, well, is the safety on, is the safety off, which way does it need to be? So that takes a little bit of use too, but it's the same way as the P38 was done. I said before that with factory ammo, this thing's very snappy, and in fact hurts my hands after about 20 or 25 rounds of factory ammo. The only way to really make this an enjoyable range gun is to reload for it. I reload my own ammunition, and the first problem I ran into, this is a dummy round just so you know, the first problem I ran into was that when it's chambering, it's getting stuck in the chamber. The chamber on this gun, I don't know if it's just this gun or if it's common to all these Smith & Wesson style PPKSs, is very tight, and the throat rifling, or the throat is very restrictive, so the bullet was getting lodged on the rifling. Now, contrast that to my Ruger LCP, which has no problem digesting the same ammo, and that's what I originally started reloading for. And then when I come to this, I had a little trouble with that. So what I had to do was I had to shorten my overall length and make this shorter to where the truncated cone of the bullet is right down at the beginning of the case so that the rifling wasn't grabbing. With that, and making a reduced power load, I was able to enjoy this gun at the range, basically. With a very much reduced power. Still cycles the slide, but it doesn't punish my hand. That's the only way that I can kind of see doing this. If you bought this and you didn't reload, you'd probably fire 1 box of ammunition and then be done. You can try to use it as a home defense gun. Some people, it still has a religious following out there. Some people would try to carry it. It's pretty heavy. And I guess I'll let my actions speak for themselves. I don't even own a holster for this gun. There's so many better modern alternatives that I would use. This is just a historical piece of the collection for me. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed my quick overview. There's thousands of other videos on there about the PPK and PPKS series. You can go watch them for more details. I'll roll in some more range footage, and enjoy. Yeah, remember to hit that 60 up. The first double action pull is a real bear.